we're gonna get right into it on this. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe so that we can share the good word with the world. So I'm going to be showing you in this video how to get your speaker pods to look like this. And it can be done fairly simply as long as you take your time and pay attention. In my opinion, this looks a lot better than the little grills. If you have a Road Glide, you know what I'm talking about. They have the little grills that go on here, and I mean, it's clean and not cluttered, but this gives it a really nice custom look. And if you do it the way that I do it in this video, you'll see that it follows the lines of the fairing a little bit better, and I just think it looks nicer. Plus, I have completely ripped out all of my audio system and my entire bike. So I'm just gonna go in, if I'm gonna build it, I'm gonna go in and really build it and do everything. The video of this bike may or may not be out before I'm actually done. I might upload them as I go, I'm not really sure, but I'll have a full video on this, and the videos like the one you're watching are all gonna be tutorials. So if you do watch the video of the bike being built and you find something that you want to learn how to do, chances are I have a video of how to do it somewhere on my channel. So now we're gonna get our hands dirty. All right, let's get right on into it. I promise the dog's not being murdered. That's my neighbor's dog. It's some kind of basset hound or something. And it's making a lot of noise. I went ahead and got this side to where it needs to be. It's not fiberglass yet. I didn't think that it warranted wasting your time showing you both sides. So this is, in comparison, the first step that we need to get to. Now to do that, what I did was I cut out, this is just some plywood. It's a little rough, but it doesn't really matter. It's gonna be fiberglass all over it and completely sealed and encased in fiberglass. You can get these pre-made on Amazon for whatever speakers you have. They might need a little modification once you get them because different speaker companies have different openings if you're gonna mount them the way I'm mounting them. Either way, cut them or order them. The second thing we're gonna use is this. It's a fleece. This isn't four-way stretch. This is some stuff that I had laying around, but for this, it'll work just as good. You can see it doesn't need to be stretched all that much to fit around that. It's barely even stapled. Now, the reason for that is because there's gonna be some body work that needs to be done so that this looks like it is a part of the fairing. I mean, it will be a part of the fairing, but you want it to look factory. So that's gonna require some body work. A couple tips that I will give you: leave yourself a little room in these areas right here, or anywhere where you'd want to do a little contour or whatever else. Like I might pull that staple out right there because it's sitting a little bit high and I don't want to gob up the filler, because I want this to be a nice transition with like a point kind of thing going right there where it just kind of rolls and blends around. So I'm going to take a little bit of 3M spray adhesive, and then I'm gonna shoot it around here. I got this bag just so this adhesive doesn't shoot down into my harness here. Kind of makes a mess a little bit. Make sure it's pretty clean, and then just spray some, especially around the ring, you know, around these areas. I do have my gauges taken out. Obviously I don't want this on my gauges. Starting from the inner ring going out, we're gonna put on this fabric. And I apologize, I might get in the way of the camera a little bit just to kind of get on the other side. I apologize, just kind of bear with me. So you wanna minimize the wrinkles. Okay, and you can pull it up and move it around. If you want, you can staple it, but always start with the spray adhesive, because you can pull it up and really get your wrinkles out. See there, I kind of went too shallow. And here, same thing. And you just kind of pull it around until it is vaguely how you want it. Like I said, obviously you want to pay attention to the shape a little bit on this step, but it doesn't really matter if you're under. I actually prefer to go under the size that I'm shooting for at first, so that I have room for my filler and my fiberglass and all that, because that's really what's going to determine the shape. This is just to get you a rough, kind of roughed in shape, if you will. I'm gonna block the camera. Just want to work it around. Make sure you got a nice, somewhat consistent shape. If you want, you can try to match the other side as best you can. Anything you do will minimize your body work, obviously. If you get it close to the final shape that you want. But really what we're doing is making a good base for the fiberglass and bodywork. So we're gonna get that a second to dry, and then I'm gonna cut it out and we'll go from there. So now that the glue's dry, we're gonna use a razor blade to go ahead and trim around it. Now, if you're not gonna put staples in this, like I'm not gonna put staples in this side, you're gonna wanna be careful that you don't pull it away. Cut small sections at a time if you can help it, and it'll make it a lot easier. You can see that now we have at least a somewhat decent base for the resin to stick to. I am gonna put a little bit of resin on this before I go on and start laying fiberglass, so that it kind of makes it a little more rigid, so that it does want to stay in its form. And we're just gonna brush it on there. So to cut out the middle of the ring, you want to find where your lip is and just shy of touching the lip. Make you a line and then trim it on. What that's gonna do, you don't go all the way to the outside, is give you something to kind of lay over that ring, and you will have a way to further adhere this fleece onto that wooden ring that you have in there. There's the basic shape that we want. Now we're gonna mix up some resin. All right, I got my little bit of resin mixed up, and I'm honestly probably gonna fast forward me doing this part, because I mean, if you don't know how to use the tools that you're using, it's not gonna be any use to you anyway. So all I'm gonna do is very carefully kind of soak this fleece in fiberglass, and what that'll do, or resin, what that'll do is make it a little more rigid. All right, I got these stiffened up enough to where I feel comfortable taking off the interfering. So obviously I'm gonna have to trim them and do a little bit of work. I'm gonna get this inner bracket off of here. I have all the screws out. Once the wiring harness is kind of pulled forward a little bit, you should have these 4 bolts, 2 here, 2 here, and then in the side, and this comes out. All right, now we're gonna do the part that makes a mess. I need to trim up and clean up and smooth out, well, not so much right there, but all these parts that are sticking over, so that I can get it knocked down and then put an actual good layer of fiberglass. Some of these places I'm probably gonna have to put more of this matting on there. Others maybe not, but we're gonna have to knock it down in order to find out. So here we go. You should wear a mask while doing this. to save my lens on my camera, I'm gonna go ahead and sand this down. If anything notable or worth mentioning comes up, I'll turn it back on and let y'all know, but I don't want this dust in my camera. Well, I got kind of tired last night and realized that I lost my sanding drum. I really ran out of sanding drums, but you can kind of see how it's cleaned up. I got this side still to do. Like I said, I ran out of my sanding drum, so knocked down. First, I'm gonna finish this one out. Well, not finish it out, but you know, do the epoxy and then put some fiberglass on it and everything. So this one will be almost completely done as far as fiberglass, just so you have an idea of what I'm going for and with this side, how to get there. So I'll turn this back on once this side is epoxied and then fiberglassed. Okay, so this isn't going to get any more fiberglass, or at least I don't think that it is. It shouldn't need any. It's sturdy and it's solid. That is about perfect as far as the shape and how I want the speaker to sit. You see it has a relief, a little bit of a relief for the rubber. I'm just holding it in there now, so of course I'll put some filler on it. I mean, not filler, a gasket or something on it to fiberglass it, to waterproof it. Oh my God, I can't talk. So I'm gonna put some filler on here and then sand it down. And this, I got grass on it. This isn't quite cured. I did this after I did this one. I gotta let this one cure overnight, and then I'll just go ahead and do the same thing. There's a couple of reasons why I keep doing this one before I do this one, and why I'm not doing them at the same time. One being that this shape of this one ended up being more outward here, and then it's in right here. And that is the exact opposite, where down here on this one, it's out, and right here it's in. So I'm gonna go ahead and shape this one because I don't want to account for that contour if I can't put it into here. That was just oversight on my part. And this one is a little more close to the edge right there on that vent hole, and this one is a little bit further away. Doesn't really matter because the filler and a little body work will get them to match up real nice. I have to say, I really cannot wait for this part to be done. I'm not really a fan of fiberglass work. I do take pride in everything that I do, but this is dirty and nasty, and it's not even the last bit of fiberglass that I have to do on this bike. But for right now, I'm gonna spread a little bit of filler on my fairing, and I'll be back talking to y'all tomorrow. So you should be able to see now the way that I have roughed in this shape. I keep using the word roughed in, but a lot of this will be sanded to get flat. I just didn't really want to waste any, and honestly with this stuff sometimes it's better to have too much that you can take away than not enough, because then you're just waiting on more coats to cure. I'm gonna let that sit overnight, and then I'll come back tomorrow, rough it out, and knock it down, try to get the shape I want, and we'll put some sanding on that one, and then get it to this point as well, and then I'll start putting on the actual filler, the polyester filler. All right, went ahead, put on the polyester filler to kind of start shaping this out and smoothing it. This is where I'm gonna start getting the final shape. The next step after doing this is going to be the glazing putty, which is gonna get rid of, I don't know if you can see them little scratch marks, but it'll get rid of those little scratch marks and stuff and really start to smooth this out. And then of course we'll use filler primer and everything and finish up the outsides where I kind of dug into the fairing and all that, but that'll be done with a little bit of glaze and putty to just kind of reshape that. And there we go. I still got to do a little bit around here and all my finishing. This black is a primer that I'm just using as a guide coat, so that whenever I sand down, I can find all the low spots and high spots and get them both to match perfectly. Also, I don't know if you can see that, I need to use some shorter screws. I only got 2 in there right now, but I didn't realize, and on the other one I put some spacers behind it. Now these little holes right here that you can see, those little holes where you can see through, those are gonna be filled. They're on the bottom as well. And I gotta do a little bit of adjusting as far as where they're sitting in the fairing, but overall, I'm happy with it. So there it is. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like and subscribe. It helps a lot. And if you're interested in seeing any more of this bike, I'm going to be uploading tutorial videos as I go, and then probably in a series, upload the videos of the actual bike being built. Not so much in a tutorial format, but more of a watch as I go kind of thing. So anyway, that's gonna be it. Remember to like and subscribe, comment, tell me what you want to see, what you'd be interested in seeing, if I need to elaborate further, etc. Until next time, see y'all later.